All right. Welcome to another one and done. We're going to talk about another application that's dealing with the rectangular prism, or known as the box, right? So the question basically saying that this person is filling this water tank. Okay, so right away when I get the phrase is filling the water tank right here, now we know what this is. Anytime you have a three-dimensional shape, you have to decide whether or not in the problem you're either calculating a surface area or volume. Well, I got it. If I have to fill something up, we're talking about volume, right? So now the next piece of the puzzle that I need to know is that the shape that we're dealing with, the volume is found by taking the length times the width times the height. This is a rectangular prism. It doesn't get any simpler than this. When you have a rectangular prism or a cube, this is all you have to do. And remember, with the cube, the length, the width, and height are all the same. The difference between a cube and a rectangular prism is that the length, width, and height can vary when you're talking about the prism itself, that rectangular prism. So the first thing I'm going to do is find the volume of the entire tank. All right. So I take my calculator out, and you could do this in any order that you want. You got your three numbers, one, a half, and another half. Take them and multiply them together in any order that you want, but you got to multiply all three values together. And what you end up getting is you get the overall volume of this, but we are not using the entire rectangular prism. According to this, because this person, Simon, is filling the tank, it says after 2 minutes, the tank is filled up to 1/5 of the height. So that's kind of like after 2 minutes, we're looking at this. This is what we see filled up inside this tank. The question is asking, okay, saying, what is the rate in cubic meters per minute at which Simon is filling up the tank? So we want to know, we don't want to know 2 minutes. We want to know what happens in 1 minute. That's what we want. And then the other thing that you should note is anytime you have a fraction, make sure you take it and put it into a decimal by taking the top divided by the bottom. And we know what this is. This is essentially our multiplier. Okay, you can either multiply by 1/5, you can multiply by 0.2, or you can simply divide by 5. Remember that shortcut? Anytime you have a fraction that has a 1 in the numerator, is basically telling you can be dividing that by 5. So all of these are in play. So now what we need to do is go through our little process of answering the question. So if we only have this tank 1/5 full, take your volume, which is this, and multiply it by 0.2. Or like I said, multiply it by 1/5 or divide it by 5. Either way, you get the same result. What happens now is you get 0.05. This right here is the volume after 2 minutes. You want to know what's the volume after 1 minute. So now all you have to do is take this result and divide it by 2. And when you take this result and you divide it by 2, your answer comes out to be letter A. This is what it's referring to by what is the rate per minute, because per minute means for 1. Now take a second, look back at what we did, because a lot of times when you are being assessed, whether it be a test like your state test or whether this be an SAT type of test, they're not going to ask you specifically for what's the volume of something or the surface area of something. They're going to make it a problem where you have to do a bunch of things. You know, in this example, we had to do 2 or 3 things. You got a tank, it was only partly filled. They give you 1 unit, you had to find another unit. Look at this carefully. Look at what's going on in the problem, so that when you get other problems along the lines like this, it makes life a little bit simpler for you. Ladies and gentlemen, I hope you found this both helpful and informative.